So when is a net negative actually a positive?
We may be dealing with, get this, negative net migration to the United States in 2025. That would be the first time there is negative net migration in this country in at least 50 years. We're talking about down from 2.8 million in 2024.
Negative net migration. That means more people leaving America than moving here. We're already starting to see the impact on the labor force. We've seen a boom in employment for native-born American workers, 1.8 million jobs, while jobs for foreign-born workers, both here legally and illegally, have plummeted. If we take a look at a country like Ireland, we can begin to connect some dots. Ireland last year is seeing its biggest population surge since 2008, largely due to positive net migration. The country also seeing, by the way, a rise in crime. It's even more pronounced in the city of Dublin, where murder and assault attempts are surging. This from a city that was once one of the safest cities in the world. It now ranks among the top 10 most dangerous cities in Europe. Let's get the read on this from the British-born author and New York Post contributor, Douglas Murray. Douglas, it's been a while. It's great to see you. Quite a headline out of Ireland, out of Dublin, that it has gotten so dangerous, that it has changed so much. And I believe, if I have my data correctly, Douglas, in a very short period of time.
That's absolutely right, Will. And it's so interesting to compare the situation in Ireland and indeed Britain and other European countries with the situation in the US. You know, when I wrote my book, The Strange Death of Europe, some 10 years ago now, I said, among other things, that the developed world, America, North America, Europe, and so on, made two fatal mistakes about migration. We massively underestimated the number of people who want to come to our societies, and we massively overestimate the extent to which we can absorb people when they come at these numbers. President Trump got into office and re-elected very largely on this question of migration and open borders. And the American people said, yes, we do want borders. We do want migration, but we want legal migration. And we want to make sure we can sort the best possible people out to come here. Ireland, Britain, other European countries have gone a totally different route. They've lost control of their borders. They keep underestimating the numbers of people who want to come and then massively lose any opportunity to integrate the people who do come. A country like Ireland has had historic, unprecedented migration in recent years, and it is changing the country, and it is something that the Irish people are waking up to because they do not like it.
Let's just stay on Europe for one more second before we come back across the Atlantic to our home shores. Who's coming? Who's going to Ireland? Who's flooding the UK? Who's changing it in what does seem to be, in very quantifiable ways, negative?
It's people from the developing world. Principally, in the case of Europe, it is people from Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, North Africa, and the Middle East. There are people coming from the Far East as well, but largely that's where the migration comes from. They come from through the soft underbelly of Europe, the Mediterranean, usually go through safe country after safe country in contravention of all international treaties like on this matter, and they end up choosing a country in which they get the best welfare deal, the best housing deal, and so on. And just imagine the fact that, for instance, as a result of this, taxpayers in Ireland, taxpayers in Britain pay millions of dollars a day to house illegal migrants in hotels.
Right.
And now in a country like Britain, the police have put on an order to forbid local British people from even protesting when illegal migrants are put in a hotel near them that many of them could not afford themselves, but they see going on the taxpayers' dime to illegal migrants.
And I think we did this story a week ago, Douglas, and crack down on anyone who complains about this on social media, begin to monitor those who complain about illegal migration. And I would just say, you and I together here, we've pointed out crime. We've pointed out effects on jobs. We have pointed out the effect on your taxpayer dollars and where they're absorbed or devoted. But I think the biggest canary in the coal mine for some place like Europe, as we're looking back here now at America, is the loss of your culture. You are a totally transforming culture who doesn't adhere to its original principles.
That's absolutely right, Will. And it's something I've warned about for many, many years, and I wish had been listened to, frankly, rather more on this. The interesting question, though, that ties all this together is, can anything be done to reverse the trend? And in all the recent years that I've traveled around interviewing politicians and others about this, I've always asked this question: what are you going to do to turn it around? And that's one of the reasons why President Trump's policy in the US is so important. He is showing, this administration is showing, that you can deport illegal migrant criminals, for instance, who should be the easiest people to deport.
Right.
People who broke into the country and then broke the laws again in the country. President Trump's policy has shown that this can be reversed. The interesting thing will be to see whether European leaders and European publics have the stomach to do this there as well, because if they don't, it's gone.
All right. Douglas Murray, always a fascinating conversation. Thank you, Douglas.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.